Up next, a Texan comes home to an angry reception from some state lawmakers and a ruling in the deaths of a racing commission official and his family. Good evening, I'm Bill Biesa. Also coming up, a closed sign goes up on a business caught in a discrimination fight. All next on Channel 2 News at 6.
As governor, Mark White imposed a record-breaking state tax increase, and taxes went up an average of $2,431 for each and every Texas family. Now he's running again and won't rule out another tax increase. Ann Richards, she's supporting more state sales taxes, and she predicts a state income tax by 1992. Jim Maddox fighting for a state lottery and against any state tax increase. 3 candidates, 1 choice. Jim Maddox for a lottery and against new taxes.
Kent Hance. No Republican is more qualified to take charge of the future of Texas as governor. As a professor, he taught our young people at Texas Tech. As state senator, he wrote the laws to make welfare fraud a felony. In Congress, he took the lead in passing the 25% Reagan tax cut. At the Railroad Commission, he took on OPEC to fight against foreign government control of the Texas energy industry. As governor, Kent Hance has the experience that works for Texas.
With the heat pump, not only did we get a great cash rebate, but we have comfort in the home that we've never known before. Just pick up the phone and call this number.
Channel 2, NBC's news station of the year. Now, Channel 2 News at 6 with Jan Carson, Bill Biesa, Doug Johnson, Craig Roberts, and the Channel 2 News team.
Good evening, folks. Jan is on leave. The nation's top educator came home to Texas today, and he caused a big fuss before a joint session of the legislature, which has been given the task of equalizing education in this state. As Channel 2's Rosalinda Perez reports, Lauro Cavazos' speech was not what some lawmakers wanted to hear.
Lauro Cavazos came to Texas to talk about education, but his visit created an uproar when he suggested
money is not the only answer. It is clearly not the answer to the education deficit.
The legislature is meeting in special session to rewrite the school finance system. Today, the Secretary of Education angered some legislators when he said restructuring the educational system could help take care of the financial woes.
What I'm saying is that if you don't put together a package that also restructures education in Texas, there aren't enough dollars in the state of Texas to address this issue.
The way you came across was that the dollars is not the answer in Texas, as if that was the answer across the country.
Some Democrats are definitely not impressed.
More than half of the school districts in the state are living in poverty. They don't get equitable funding. And so what I saw today was a Secretary of Education that did nothing more than come and try to give credibility to a governor, a Republican governor also, that has said that we don't need any new monies into the system. And so it was an embarrassment. I'm really disappointed.
Secretary Cavazos ought to be very proud because he has seriously undermined any effort in the state of Texas to adequately fund education for minorities.
The legislature is supposed to come up with a new funding plan by May 1st, but with all the bickering, many doubt that will even happen. Rosalinda Perez, Channel 2 News.
Although 3 lawmakers walked out on Cavazos' speech today, Governor Bill Clements, who has rallied against a tax hike to equalize education, praised it. A ruling of murder-suicide has been reached in the deaths of a Texas Racing Commission official and his wife and their 2 children. Hayes County officials say David Yost shot his wife, 10-year-old son, and 5-year-old daughter, and then turned the murder weapon on himself. The ruling was made after powder burns were found on Yost's hands. There is no word on what led to the shootings at the Yost home in Buda, south of Austin. Environmentalists went to federal court today in Houston demanding an end to the alleged destruction of wetlands at Houston's proposed West Side Airport. As Channel 2 News first reported over a week ago, critics charge the city has violated federal rules. Ken Kaltoff with the latest.
These photos of the airport site show trees and heavy brush in this abandoned rice farming reservoir last year. Here's how it looked 2 weeks ago after the city bulldozed trees and burned out brush. The city also filled in 2 ponds on the site. The FAA had just ordered new studies that were to decide if those areas should be protected wetlands. Huge flocks of waterfowl rely on the marshy prairie.
On the information that we've received, the city intends to conduct further work out there that would continue to drain the area out there. So there is an irreparable damage yet to be done.
So the Audubon Society is asking a federal judge to halt work and order reversal of what's been done. The city paid over $5 million for the land west of Houston. City officials mentioned the original purchase contracts, arguing the agricultural quality of the land must be preserved to resell it if the airport falls through.
That's probably going to be a use that it would be used. And also if the airport's approved, I'm sure that part of the site will be farmed.
Federal aviation studies say there should not be rice farming at the airport because that would attract birds. A lawyer who reviewed the contract says farmers who lease the land were to maintain it for agriculture at their expense. The city has no obligation.
There's no specific obligation on their part to do the work in the contract.
The lawsuit was assigned to a judge who's not in, so environmentalists must wait to get their ruling. City attorneys refuse to comment until they see the papers, except to say that the city has done nothing wrong. Ken Kalthoff, Channel 2 News.
And Ken says that ruling could come in just a couple of days. Well, last month, Bob Nicholas reported on the surge of black-owned and operated businesses here in Houston. Citing several examples, Bob showed how Houston is joining Atlanta as a mecca for black entrepreneurs. But tonight, Bob Nicholas reports on the liquidation of the only black-owned General Motors dealership in Houston and the backlash against GM.
In the black community, we feel that there are many overtones of racial discrimination.
The sentiments of a cross-section of religious and community leaders who came together as a show of support for Ray Sykes Buick.
General Motors, who is my partner in the dealership, elected to go into liquidation rather than recapitalize the dealership.
It was the only black-owned General Motors dealership in Houston with sales exceeding $20 million when times were good. And now sales are off and GM shut it down. Ray Sykes says he would still be in business if GM had kept its promise to provide an additional $350,000 in loans.
We started off with about 55% of the capital that we were supposed to have, with the other 45% that was supposed to be given to me at a later date.
We are asking for a complete and thorough investigation, and we are asking that GM reconsider its position and give Mr. Ray Sykes, this Buick dealership, an opportunity to continue to serve the community.
If General Motors leadership does not wish to meet with us, discuss these concerns that we're raising, we'll take whatever appropriate action is necessary.
The community group stopped short of calling for a boycott against General Motors, but did promise more action if there is no response from GM by the end of the week. Bob Nicholas, Channel 2 News.
Well, we called General Motors this afternoon, and GM told us that Ray Sykes was given every opportunity to succeed, and that the allegation about unfair treatment is, in GM's words, nonsense. Carting patients at Bentop Hospital is turning a troubled emergency room around. We'll have more on that coming up next. Plus, another race for a candidate who has spent a lifetime running for office.
No one thought I could win except me and my wife and one of the two children.
It's possible to walk through life with blinders, denying even drug, alcohol, or emotional problems that destroy families. The most loving yet difficult thing you'll do is confront problems and get help. At Charter Hospital of Sugar Land, we make that first step easier with a free assessment. Call 980-4000. Think about it, please.
I love good food, but I know I should eat healthy. Then after my heart attack, my wife Josie proved something to me. Good-tasting food can be healthy. And that's what inspired Healthy Choice.
Introducing Healthy Choice frozen dinners. Truly delicious meals, low in fat, sodium, and cholesterol, so they can help you keep your heart healthy.
That Josie, she's always a step ahead of me. You think she's after my job?
Listen to your heart. Make a healthy choice.
Now that you've thought about it, if someone in your family is hurting from a drug, alcohol, or emotional problem, then the time to call Charter Hospital of Sugar Land is now. Get help before the problem destroys your family. We offer outpatient programs at our counseling centers or inpatient hospital programs. To make the first step easier, a confidential assessment is free. Call 980-4000, Charter Hospital of Sugar Land. If you don't get help at Charter, get help somewhere.
Someday you will find Hawaii that is part of all of us.
Of all the people who visit Hawaii, few ever really see it. With American Hawaii Cruises, you won't miss a thing.
Ann Richards brought her campaign to Houston today, visiting a daycare center and meeting with supporters this week before the primary. She is, of course, still being dogged by questions about whether she ever used illegal drugs. She says she has already dealt with that question and says the voters now need to hear about the issues and not the personalities of the candidates. One of the Republicans in the governor's race has spent most of his life running for one office or another. Tonight, we continue our profiles on the gubernatorial candidates with a look at Kent Hance.
William? Well, William had a discouraging... There are two Kent Hanses. One is a politician, but the more likable version is a West Texas storyteller, a man who still totes around jokes from his first campaign.
No one thought I could win except me and my wife and one of the two children.
But the man who makes them chuckle can also wrinkle their foreheads. To get out the vote, Kent Hance called upon a convicted felon who no longer has the right to vote. The law and order candidate brought in a famous lawbreaker. For $25,000, Hance got an endorsement and at least one off-color joke.
I would like to be introduced as the husband of one and the father of four. I actually got that backwards campaigning in California last year. The funny thing of it is, I was in San Francisco and no one noticed.
Hammered about the obvious contradictions in the North endorsement, Hance used a fight lies with lies philosophy.
I think the case was a charge of lying to Congress. I've always wondered why they don't have a law on getting Congress when they lie to the public. I'm Jason Rackey. Hi, Jason. Nice to see you.
But Hance would not still be in public office if he were not doing some things right. He gets to issues just ahead of voters. And in Congress, he was a key Democrat behind the passage of the Reagan tax cut measure. As railroad commissioner, he took off for OPEC to see what a Lubbock boy could do against the oil cartel.
When I started going to the OPEC meetings, the price of oil was $12, $13 a barrel. It's $20 a barrel now. I don't take complete credit for that.
Hance is building much of his campaign on a dangerous promise to take away a source of money the state may one day need.
Read my lips. No state income tax in Texas.
Kent Hance has spent much of his life and millions of dollars from both political parties building his name identification. His political career was carefully timed for this gubernatorial election, and then, out of the western skies came a cowboy named Clayton Williams with a 10-gallon wallet.
Mr. Williams is a funny guy. He's a nice guy. He doesn't know anything about government. He would be lost. I feel confident as governor would have a difficult time.
But would losing mean the end of Kent Hance's political life? Probably not. Losing hasn't stopped him yet. One Hance yarn may symbolize his entire career. At a news conference, cameras were being taken down just as he began to speak. Where are you all going? Hance wondered. A photographer told him that a body had been discovered in a nearby canal. Yeah, but this is the U.S. Senate race, Hance said. We know, the photographer replied, but you'll be back. He won't. Jim Moore, Channel 2 News, Austin.
Tomorrow night at 6 o'clock, Jim will take an expanded look at Democratic candidate Ann Richards. Now, turning from politics to health care, staying well is a tough job for families who can't afford quality health care. So the Harris County Hospital District has spent the past couple of months trying to improve the system. We have an update for you tonight from Family Health reporter Tim Light. Tim?
You might remember it was in November. We had reports about the hospital district turning minor illness patients away from Ben Taub Hospital Emergency Room. It seems to be working, but a lot of people still don't know quite how to access the public health care system in Houston.
Anthony Bowers.
Last November, the Harris County Hospital District began a major effort to reduce the number of patients at LBJ and Ben Taub hospitals. They urged patients who were overcrowding Ben Taub Hospital with minor health problems to use public health clinics instead.
Well, since the clinics have gone to extended hours now, we're 20% down.
and which is nice because now we can focus in on the major trauma.
District employees go into the hospital waiting rooms to teach people how to become enrolled in the hospital district.
If you can go to your community health center for services, please do.
Each patient must have a gold card, a hospital identification card that can speed up the waiting process in both hospitals and clinics.
I want to know what WAX on your gold card would mean.
WAX, and then you go to Weston Clinic and you don't pay anything.
Not all the patients who use the public hospitals get the care for free, but of 413,000 people in the county who are eligible, less than half are enrolled. Irene Villarreal has gold cards for herself and her children, but not one for her husband. Dora's job is to help her get one.
Where to go, how to call to make an appointment, how to get your gold card before you get ill. Don't wait until you have an emergency and then just drop in at the emergency room.
Now, these gold cards are free, and if you'd like more information on how to get one, you can call the hospital district beginning tomorrow morning. Their number is 659-1313. Call them after 9, so they'll have someone there to answer the phone.
Sounds like a very good system. Thank you very much,
More
Ken.
people need to be in it.
Tomorrow morning's weather, by the way, is going to be a little bit on the dreary side, but our weather guy, Doug Johnson, is on the cheery side. Just look at him. We'll be right back.
Pizza Hut has a great new way to get your family together. An NCAA mini basketball. Now you can get one for only $2.99 with every Pizza Hut pizza you buy. Yeah. The mini basketball is fun to play with. And Pizza Hut knows that the family that plays together is always showing off. The mini basketball is just $2.99, but hurry, supplies are limited. Pizza Hut, get it great.
Ooh, I love the taste of crab delights from Lewis Kemp Crab Delights tonight. It's a seafood paradise. Crab Delights tonight.
Crab Delights from Lewis Kemp. So easy, so delicious, right out of the package in your favorite dish.
Can't help this love of mine. Now I have seafood anytime. Ooh, I love the taste of Crab Delights. Crab Delights tonight.
From Lewis Kemp.
The home team stretch run of the Goofy Games tomorrow on the Scene at 5.
Same label, lower price. At the Men's Warehouse, you get designer labels and a low price. We bought this designer suit at Foley's for $355. At the Men's Warehouse, this suit is $255, $100 less. Same label, same fit, lower price. Those are the facts, I guarantee it.
14 stores, including the Gulf Freeway, the North Freeway, the Katy Freeway, Greenspoint Drive, 2 stores in Westheimer, and now open in Meyer Park.
Sometimes, like the weather, Doug begins to feel a little dreary, too.
Well, this is the flu coming on. That's
Is
the
it
weather
really? Oh,
outside.
that's the weather.
Well,
You
it might
setting
be.
yourself up for
I'm
a
not
long
so
weekend,
certain.
or what?
Well, this is going to be a good weekend to stay in and have chicken soup, I think. Actually, by the weekend, things should begin to improve a little bit. Well, we're still in for several days of cloud cover and a good chance of rainfall that'll be increasing, by the way, tomorrow. The low this morning in Houston officially was 60, and it got up to 74 today. Right now, it is 68 in Intercontinental and downtown Houston, 69 at Hobby Airport, 70 right now at Hull on the west side, 65 for downtown Galveston. Beach water temperature 60, barometric pressure dropping, relative humidity way up there at 90%, you can tell. Wind is out of the southeast at 15. It has been windy all last night, all this morning, and it's going to stay that way for a little longer and then begin to die down some tomorrow. The big weather maker in the nation is this giant low pressure system not moving very much. And that's good news for the ski resorts because it continues to ski through many of the stations in Colorado and up into Wyoming. None of it, though, seems to be making it over to Nebraska, Kansas, and Oklahoma, just the heavy thunderstorms there. In fact, there's a severe weather watch in effect for parts of the Texas Panhandle, Oklahoma, and Kansas, and that may have to be scooted eastward later on tonight. The active portion of the front extends down into the Big Bend National Park area, and this part of the frontal system here is occluded, meaning that one front has overtaken another. Then it becomes an active front again out to the east, extending out into the Atlantic. A brand new front showing up in the northwest, causing some cloud cover, slightly cooler temperatures, and a lot of rain, mostly light. For the upper Texas coast, winds tomorrow be out of the southeast at about 15 knots, wave heights offshore 4 to 6 feet. feet. Bay water slightly choppy to choppy. And again, at last report, beach water temperature in Galveston 60 degrees. Our forecast for this evening is calling for cloudy skies, a 20% chance of mostly light rain. Sun will be going down at 6:24. Not quite that yet, no. And then a low temperature of 62 in the morning, 30% chance of rain, up to 40% tomorrow afternoon. Sunrise coming at 6:41. Winds not quite so high, it looks like, for tomorrow. But other than that, it's going to look like the same kind of day. 50% chance of rain tomorrow. 72 to 74 degrees for high temperature. Thursday, 76 for high. And on Friday, probably about 82 with a little sunshine peeking through just to tease us as we get close to the weekend.
You do sound like you're coming down with something. Hope you feel better.
Thank you very much. I love sympathy.
Oh, you've got it from me. The Rockets are ready to take on the Lakers in the Summit tonight. That story is coming up next in sports, and let's hope they don't need sympathy after the game. Plus, looking ahead to a big weekend in the Southwest Conference, sports is next.
Star Furniture, Star Furniture, the furniture you really want is all right here.
What good is a low-price furniture store if you don't like the furniture? The furniture you really want is all right here. And nobody beats Star prices on Star quality furniture. We guarantee it in writing.
Can you afford not to shop at Star? Star Furniture, Star Furniture.
It's plain as day.
This is too easy. Can't you tell?
America's coffee drinkers are discovering that Maxwell House Instant looks more like fresh ground coffee than these instant coffee crystals.
Crystals and coffee, huh? Smells rich.
Maxwell House is blended with Colombian beans. It looks, smells, and tastes
like fresh ground.
Delicious. Maxwell House Instant. Everything about it says
fresh ground taste.
Red Lobster.
Tonight, try 30 shrimp for just $8.95. Golden fried shrimp. Grilled. Shrimp scampi. 30 shrimp on one plate, just $8.95. Only at Red Lobster. Introducing Red Lobster call-ahead seating. Call us when you're ready to leave, and we'll save you a place in line.
We'll be seating you shortly, Mr. Cole.
You'll spend less time waiting to satisfy the seafood lover in you. New call-ahead seating. Call today.
All right, I'll ask him for you, but I got a feeling I already know the answer. Bart Ennis, anything new in the baseball talk?
No.
No. There it is.
Both sides are talking right now, but there's no new progress being made. With that nonsense out of the way, let's talk about college basketball. With their big win over Texas last night, University of Houston ran their season record to 23-6, and they've won 11 straight. That's their best regular season record since Akeem's last year in 1984. A record crowd of over 10,600 watched Houston forward Carl Herrera put on quite a show last night. Herrera piled up 29 points and 16 rebounds. Combine that with his statistics against Texas A&M last Wednesday, and you get 57 points and 29 rebounds. That's good enough for the conference to name him Player of the Week. Congratulations to Carl and his teammates over at U of H for a great season. Now it's on to the conference tournament in Dallas, and here's how that's going to shape up on Friday in the first round. Texas and Texas A&M will kick it off at noon. You see Houston will take on Rice at 2 p.m. And the top seed Arkansas will take on SMU at 7 o'clock, and then the last game, TCU against Baylor. And the Southwest Conference could very well end up with 3 representatives in the NCAA tournament. The SWAC tournament is in town this weekend. It's being played over on the campus of TSU. And you can see the Tigers in action Friday night in the first round matchup against Prairie View. That will start at 8 o'clock. And they could also get into the NCAA tournament. And on the campus of Loyola Marymount today, the family, friends, and fans of Hank Gathers held memorial service for a very nice young man who also just happened to be a great basketball player. They packed the gymnasium where Gathers spent so much time setting an example for his teammates, both on and off the court. Gathers was the spiritual leader of this team and extremely popular on campus. His family, teammates, and longtime friends from Philadelphia, where he grew up, were in attendance, as well as thousands of students. The West Coast Conference tournament was canceled after Gathers' death, and the Lions were named conference champs due to their league-best 13-1 record, but the team has not decided as yet whether or not to accept the automatic bid into the NCAA tournament. Let's talk about the pros now. Coming off of one of their biggest wins of the year, the Rockets will host the Los Angeles Lakers tonight at the Summit. Akeem was great, as usual, last night, but the team had more than just Olajuwon. Akeem's 37-point, 14-rebound performance was good enough to offset David Robinson's 29-point effort, and in the final minutes, crunch time they call it, Olajuwon was unstoppable. But along the way, the Rockets got a solid effort from their bench. Larry Smith, Mike Woodson, and Vernon Maxwell all contributed to Houston's third straight win. A lot of people around town are of the opinion that this team should just tank the rest of this season and try to get an impact player in the draft. But clearly, that's not the thinking of the players.
It's just playoffs. We are, 2.5, 3 games behind Seattle, and they're 1 game behind Denver for the 7th spot. So, I think we're going to make the playoffs, and I think with the big finish I'm anticipating us having, we're going to cause a lot of trouble to a lot of teams.
Wiggins will be the guy trying to slow Magic Johnson tonight as the Lakers come in town with the best record in the Western Conference. We're all familiar with the spectacular way in which Johnson does what he does. Sometimes even the opposition can get caught up in watching the Magic act.
It's very hard, but, if you become a spectator, you're going to sit down because he's going to make you look bad. And, playing against him, I always get up for the game because you're playing against the very best.
He is that. Don't count the Rockets out yet. One other note from the NBA last night, the Utah Jazz went into Miami with the 3rd best record in the league and a 7-game winning streak. Miami has won all of 13 games this year, so you figure no sweat for the Jazz, right? Well, they led it by 4 with less than 30 seconds left, but Kevin Edwards hit the 3-pointer for Miami to make it 104-103. And at the other end, you see the clock ticking down here. Stockton misses. Glenn Rice gets the rebound for Miami. He kicks it out. Miami will swing it around. They'll miss a jump shot here, but the ball will eventually end up back in the hands of Glenn Rice. He cans the jumper with no time on the clock. Miami wins it 105-104. They don't win very many in Miami, so when they win one like that over a team like Utah, they go nuts.
Yeah.
All 10 fans that were in attendance, I guess.
Thank you, Bart. Well, Bart, thanks very much also for letting us save what may be the best story of the day for last. Because coming up next, one of the hottest teams going clowns its way into the top 4. We'll explain next.
One adult in 5 has back pain at some time in their life. This could result in a significant loss of work and lifestyle, as well as continued pain and discomfort. There are many more causes of back pain than most people think, and successful treatment depends on an accurate diagnosis. At Diagnostic Clinic, the diagnosis is made by a team of multiple specialists using the most modern techniques available. If back pain continues to bother you, call us.
Diagnostic Clinic of Houston, where diagnosis is just the beginning.
They've served in war and in peace, yet only one company saw the need to protect the lives and families of those who protect ours. So Mutual of New York became the first to insure our military. It's that kind of innovative thinking that's provided 146 years of uninterrupted dividends for the present and annuities and pensions for the future of a new generation of soldiers and sailors, doctors.
Mutual of New York, money for life.
The question is, how do you get the sofa you want in the style and fabric you want and get it in 35 days? The answer? Furniture Idea. And save now during our grand opening sale. First, make your choice from over 400 styles and choose from over 1,000 fabrics. Then put the fabric of your choice on the style of your choice and get it as a sofa and love seat, or a sleeper and chair, or even a sectional and get delivery in just 35 days. Save now during Furniture Idea's grand opening sale.
Going fishing? Don't. Not until you've seen the 15th Annual Fishing Show. Coming March 6th through 11th to the George R. Brown Convention Center. Everything for the fishermen, including a spectacular selection of rods, reels, and bait. Hundreds of completely equipped boats from the offshore blue water rigs to the newest and high-performance bass boats. Don't miss Houston's Fishing Extravaganza. Going on March 6th through 11th at George R. Brown Convention Center downtown. Adults $5, children under 12, $1.
Hey, we've got some good news tonight from the Goofy Games in Orlando, Florida. The Channel 2 sports team headed by Craig Roberts has moved into 4th place in a field of 37. Craig and Spencer Tillman and their teammates have been competing in some really silly games for a really good cause. Each competing television station has selected a charity to support. In our case, it is the Muscular Dystrophy Association, of course. There's really no point in trying to describe the Goofy Games because they defy description, but as you can see, our guys are out there giving it the old Channel 2 try for the chance to win up to $10,000 for the Muscular Dystrophy Association, and we'll let you know how it all comes out in the end. That's our news. Thank you very much for watching. We'll see you again tonight at 10 o'clock.